project, which was the Brothers Grimm version, and this is my interpretation of it. I started out with all the main characters and kind of the process work. With Cinderella, I kind of wanted her to be a really pure kind of, character. She was kind of put in a lot of bad situations, so I thought, well, white. White is a very pure color. So I started off with just a really simple shape, like a circle. And I wanted her to be like the main point of the whole story, but I wanted her to still just be pretty plain. So I played with trying to put like her in an apron and stuff like that, but I really didn't enjoy it. So as you can see here, it got cut off, but I tried just going with a really long eclipse kind of thing, just a white one. And then I moved on to Evil Stepmother. With Molly Bang, she used triangles for kind of really sharp things, and she's a very evil person. So I just started playing with triangles and setting them kind of upside down to make them uneasy, and I added a little bit of black in there just to show kind of her dark soul. And then the prince. I started playing with red because it was kind of like a royal color, so I'm like, well, I already have red, so I tried using that. And I kind of started going off with a cross, kind of just royal kind of, and I didn't really like how that all fell together, so I kind of added like a type of crown at the top, and I didn't really like the red because I didn't want people to think, oh, he's evil too. So I changed it to a purple, which I thought later I could use that as backgrounds and stuff like that. So I went with this one down here, which has a little, it kind of separates the crown from his body, so it's not so much like a cross, but I chose purple because it was a royal color. And then the evil stepsisters. I also tried with a triangle. I wanted them to kind of look like their mother, but not so much because in the story it talks about how actually beautiful they are, but they have a very dark soul. So I thought about going to making them an hourglass shape because, that's supposed to be a beautiful woman. And I went through that, and then I wanted to show like a dark inner to them. So, you can't even see it, but down here, it's kind of like a dress, but it's kind of, all the triangles are pointing into like her soul, which is just a black circle. You'll see it in the other slides. Here's the first scene I started with. In Cinderella, it talks about her mother dying when she's young and her father remarrying. And throughout the whole book, she goes and visits her mother's grave. So I took the purple from the prince and put it as a background. It's kind of an easy background, a little eerie, but when you're at a grave, it's kind of eerie. And then in the book, it talks about birds being there, which in turn grants her wishes and stuff. So I wanted to be pretty plain. And also the tree over here has significance in the movie, or in the book, sorry. She asks her dad to bring her back a twig from when he goes to a fair, so she plants that over there, and then that's when the birds come and live in there and grant her wishes and stuff. I thought this scene looked very plain. I'm like, well, I really need to jazz it up a little bit, add a little more emotion to it. So I decided to add some hills to make it feel a little more easier and a little more calming. And then I also wanted to add in kind of their house in the background because the grave was outside their house. But I also thought it needed a little something more. I put in her evil stepmother just to kind of glare in that she's always behind Cinderella, she's always tormenting Cinderella. So I just had that in there. And I know it kind of draws your eyes straight to it, but then after that you kind of felt you're going to go around through it. So I really thought that kind of just like, she's right there, she's always watching Cinderella, and kind of made it a little more intense. This is the second scene I chose, in which Cinderella is at the prince's party, and this is the last day of the 3 days, and she loses her shoe, and that's how he in turn finds her. I put a dress on her because she's being disguised at the party. Nobody wants to know Cinderella. So I chose purple because it's one of the color schemes and also kind of a royal color and beautiful. So, and I drew kind of the stair steps as she was kind of running away, and I left the shoe down there, but I thought it was kind of, the background just kind of was just too boring. So I added some columns to make it kind of look like pillars, and you can't see her, but she's down here. And then I also went through and I thought, well, you cannot see the shoe. So I changed it to red. Your eye directly goes to the shoe, even though it's very small. You can see it and you understand what's going on in the picture. Is he's looking at her as she's running away lower on the frame. The third one is the prince goes around trying to fit the shoe on all the women in the kingdom, and of course it only fits on Cinderella. And here you can see them walking away from the evil stepsisters and evil mother. She's got the shoe on, it's kind of awkward because she's a circular object, but she's going away with him as they're kind of coming off the page. And then I thought they were kind of missing something. I wanted them to be in the picture, you know, because they were really upset that he didn't choose them. And so I wanted to add a little more. In the book, it actually, or in the story, it talks about how they each tried to cut off a toe or a heel to fit into the shoe. So I kind of wanted to show like blood in some sort, that they got hurt in the end from it, and also them crying because they didn't get to be with the prince and they really wanted to. And also, I still wanted the evil stepmother to look jagged because she's really upset that it wasn't one of her real daughters. And also, I added in the doves too because in the story they have like a little poem that they say every time when he rides away with the wrong princess, and they tell him, no, that's not her, it's not her. And he keeps going back and finally gets Cinderella, and they're still following him throughout the thing. And also when they get married, the doves go there and the evil stepsisters come to the wedding, and the doves actually gouge out their eyes. So that's also kind of the symbolic of the tear too, is the doves kind of attacking them. Questions?
Yeah, just for the record, so it's on the recording, I want to say that we do have a technical difficulty here that's caused your slides to be off center, and I'm sorry for that. But we'll let the review team then ask you some questions.
What kind of questions are we supposed to ask?
Well, it would have been nice if you'd asked that before her presentation. What kind of questions do you ask when you critique someone? It's not all questions you can make comments to, but the main thing, I think, are the questions that are why. You know, why, or why did you not try this, that, or the other thing? Now, you do have a complication because things are off center, but I think there are a number of really good points that you can make about it too in the way of comments on it, which in themselves may bring you to some questions. So, what are some of the high points of what she's presented here?
I like the color scheme that she chose for it. I thought the purple and the red fit the story pretty well. The whole, showing the evils and shadiness of the stepmother and yet the peaceful side of it, the story. So I kind of like the color scheme.
I think that was really the hard part, was trying to keep just two colors in black and white. So I kind of liked it that I chose Cinderella to be white because then I could kind of do whatever else I wanted to do. So that was probably the hardest part of doing this, was keeping a common color scheme.
I did like that you put the purple on the prince. I think kind of interesting how you managed to make it seem royalty, although you did not. Before even you said it was royalty, you can notice that it is.
I like your backgrounds for all of them.
Yeah, I thought going through this, I kind of wanted to, I didn't want it just to be boring. Like some of Molly Bang's in her book, she just has trees and stuff like that, just following the background. I'm like, well, I want it to be, you know, like the palace. I wanted to show kind of like the columns and stuff like that. I wanted to play it up a little bit more and add a little more in the background, so it wasn't just, you know, just the main one.
Can you go back a moment to your first complete scene? Okay. I think it's, as I said, we're at a disadvantage because things are slightly off center here. But I think you can tell from this that one of the strengths here is that she's used the whole picture frame. And she's very conscious. That's kind of applying something you would know from 131 and other experiences here. But very conscious, obviously, that there are going to be certain things that draw our attention in certain areas. Our eye will move around the picture in a certain way. But she's done a lot there. When you said in the presentation you decided to introduce the hills, the undulating ground there, and you did that to make it do what? You want to repeat that for them?
A little easier, more calming. It's
More
not
calming.
just a straight line, it's just kind of thinly and light kind of.
Yeah, more than just putting objects on the picture frame, she's creating an atmosphere here. And I think it's very, very effectively done. The birds, the stepmother is just the right size so that she doesn't overpower us, because it would be easy if she were just a huge red blob to make her turn out to be the center of the picture. I think there's some very good work here. How early did you decide, would be one question, to make make Cinderella white? It would be obvious if you had somebody like Snow White, you might say, well, yeah, I'll make her white, or something like that. But at what point did you decide to make her white?
At the point I didn't know what color to make her. I just started I thought, okay, Cinderella, what are her qualities? So I thought, well, she's pure, she's innocent. I'm thinking, okay, white, we'll just go with white, and then that'll leave me space to do anybody else any color I want to. I'll still have two other colors because white's still one of the colors. So I just thought, well, she's an innocent figure, and I thought, especially with like purple background, she'd still pop out and she wouldn't get lost. I know in some of the, like at the palace, like I thought it was like, okay, maybe she's gonna blend in a little, so I added the dress, and that kind of helped. But she doesn't really, the illusion of the stairs kind of still sets her away from it. You don't really get lost in the shape of the white. And that's also why I added a background, because there was just way too much white. See, I think this definitely helps.
Yes.
You can't see her, but it definitely helps bring her forward, and you can tell he's looking at her. And also that's why I changed the color of the shoe too, so something, it was important, it popped out.
I think some excellent decisions. Anyone else? The rest of you should be able to add comments and questions too. Any other observations? Well, I think it was an excellent start for us. Thank you, Christina.